2025's most intense psychological thriller awaits. A group is stuck in endless rebirth. Each night brings new, gruesome deaths, unnatural infections, a mass killer, something inhuman. Overwhelmed by terror in their dire plight, they accidentally uncover a shocking secret. Let the nightmare begin. Melly and her friends wrap up their 2-week road trip on a secluded mountain highway. Before going home, they had one last place to stop. A year ago, Melly's sister disappeared after posting one final video. That video was filmed at this very convenience store. Even with little hope, Melly refused to give up any chance to find her sister. Xiaoya, who loved spiritual games, proposed a seance to find clues. Though skeptical, they humored her and agreed to try. They joined hands in a circle, and as Xiaoya guided them, they sensed something drawing near. The minibus cut their seance short. Melly strode into the store. She cut to the chase, showing the clerk her sister's photo. The clerk denied seeing her but claimed she was missing. Melly was stunned when the clerk explained that many people had gone missing recently, all vanishing in the Glory Valley ahead. Melly rushed out of the store excitedly. She finally got a clue to her sister. The team drove off toward Glory Valley. The driver struggled through the stormy mountain road with multiple U-turns. Mid-argument, the fog ahead mysteriously lifted. The rain still fell behind them while sunshine lit the road ahead as if split by unseen energy. Xiaoyu spotted a lone grave in the grass. Her blood ran cold. The others, eager to escape the rain, marched toward the cabin. Melly stayed behind. Something about the storm felt wrong. She felt the rain but found it oddly unsettling. A figure emerged from the swirling mist. Melly paused briefly, then dashed into the downpour. Jack saw her and shouted as he ran after her. Inside the cabin, the three friends found something strange. A giant hourglass sat in the hall. Curly found a visitor log on the desk. Melly's sister's name repeated dozens of times. Xiaoya went straight to the bathroom and saw a dusty mirror and a dry faucet, signs that no one had lived there for a long time. Camera guy, ever the photographer, captured every detail. In the bedroom, he found a wall covered in missing posters, Melly's sister among them. Melly kept looking for her sister in the rain. A hand grabbed her, Jack yanking her back to safe. The group shared their odd experiences in the cabin. Melly was sure she heard her sister in the rain. Curly noticed the hourglass had mysteriously reset itself, yet nobody had gone near it at all. A sudden roar outside. They ran out and saw their car driven into the mist. The figure stood tauntingly still, forcing them back inside. God knows what kind of lunatic lurked out there. Their phones had no signal. Melly's group searched for a landline. By phone light, they entered the basement. Jack spotted windows in the walls. Melly let out a startled cry when she discovered a landline, yet it showed no signs of life after multiple tries. Xiaoya managed to find a radio. The camera guy and Curly upstairs suddenly heard a loud door slam. The cameraman went to check the sound, but nobody came back after waiting. Curly cautiously made her way down the hallway and caught sight of a shadowy figure ahead. The light revealed camera guy's body, split into. The three downstairs heard the commotion and arrived to find Curly lying dead in a pool of blood. Jack warned them about the masked killer, and they scattered to hide. Jack lifted a stool and smashed it toward the masked killer, who showed no reaction and instantly stabbed him dead with a brutal counterattack. Xiaoya trembled in the wardrobe as the masked killer crept closer. Melly gritted her teeth, grabbed a dagger from the table and lunged at him, but the masked killer remained unfazed. Realizing she couldn't win, Melly bolted from the room and found herself in the forest. She spotted someone familiar. Then the masked killer plunged a blade into her stomach. Melly's death marked the end of all five friends. Then the hourglass turned on its own, sending them back to when they first entered the room. They still remembered how they were killed. To their horror, their photos now hung on the wall. They were all seized by terror. Was something keeping them trapped here? Camera guy tried to escape by car, but Curly knew there was more to it. She remembered repeated names in the guest book. Clearly they were stuck in time loops. The door was banged violently again. They crept forward and saw the door opening and closing on its own. The cameraman and Jack blocked the door. Curly watched in horror as the hourglass flipped. Time was resetting. Xiaoya turned pale with a grim expression, her psychic instincts warning of impending danger tonight. Her body convulsed the moment she spoke. The bulb exploded with a shriek, and Xiaoya disappeared completely. They found Xiaoya levitating unnaturally in the air. Her face contorted as she pointed at a photo, voices overlapping, a legion of spirits speaking through her. Another shriek cut through the air as Xiaoya's neck snapped lifeless before she collapsed. Their hearts pounded. Were they doomed to die again? Frantic knocking at the door. Melly turned white. It was her sister's desperate cries. Something felt wrong, but nothing could stop Melly now. Melly flung open the door to find nothing outside. Jack gasped, pointing. A cabin had materialized in the clear. Melly frowned, then suddenly floated upward. An unseen force hurled the others back. Melly scrambled forward only to be dragged away. Jack fought to reach Melly, but Camera Guy bodily blocked the doorway. She's beyond saving. We must leave immediately. Jack ignored everything and stormed out. Meanwhile, Melly woke up in the cabin. Eerie masks surrounded her. The TV blared news of a mine collapse and an old man's hat on the couch. Melly thought he was asleep and tried to leave, but the door was locked. She tried the door, then turned to see the old man standing. He murmured softly, either endure the night, or become part of it. He forcefully pushed Melly down. An oxygen mask clamped over her face as her eyes turned black. The old man rapidly withered into a pile of bones. A creepy smile crept onto Melly's face. Camera Guy and Curly bolted to the car. He floored it, leaving the others behind in the rain. Soon, a towering figure emerged ahead, terrifying Camera Guy into retreating back to safety. Curly tried to leave, but the doors were locked. A burst of blood sprayed as Camera Guy was cut down, and the masked killer returned. Inside the cabin, Jack found ashes on the floor. Then a clown materialized in the rocking chair. Jack froze in terror, then saw it was merely a doll. He kicked it aside, then spun to face Melly, now masked. A blade flashed. Jack collapsed. Melly stepped out of the cabin with a fierce look, but the masked man's speeding car hit her instantly. The teen was wiped out again. After reviving, they smartly barricaded the main door and squeezed into the bathroom together for safety. The old lady said they'd be safe if they survived the night. Camera Guy got thirsty. Xiaoya warned there was no water, but when he turned the faucet, water came out. Starved and parched all day, they all drank from the tap during the break. They settled in for a long wait. Camera Guy suddenly coughed violently, blood spraying. Then it got worse. Xiaoya urged him to drink water, but the next moment his body burst apart abruptly. Screams erupted as Curly desperately wiped blood off herself. Then she exploded just like the others. Now they realized the water they drank was contaminated. Xiaoya's face went pale. She was the third to drink, and moments later her body exploded violently. Melly realized failing this time still left them another chance. Jack melted into a bloody puddle, leaving Melly alone. As she resigned herself to death, the store clerk suddenly appeared. Melly perished in utter disbelief. The hourglass turned, plunging them back into the cycle. They scrambled to collect clues. Melly found documents revealing the clerk was actually a psychologist. The others found even more shocking clues. The once prosperous town was swallowed by the earth after years of relentless mining, claiming the lives of over 1,000 innocent residents. The psychologist was unexpectedly found in the rescue team. Jack realized why there were windows in the basement. Curly opened a door and was surprised to find a tunnel beyond. She shivered and quickly closed the door. Camera Guy stumbled upon an ancient tape revealing the psychologist's twisted experiments. He confined a survivor in a hidden chamber, subjecting them to relentless despair and terror until both mind and body underwent gradual transformation. By day 13, the resident had turned into a monster. The horrifying truth hit them: they were living the same nightmare. Melly had an epiphany: survival wasn't the answer. Killing the psychologist was. A sinister chuckle crackled through the radio, praising Melly's intelligence while mocking her to meet the expert alone in the woods if she dared. Melly bolted outside. The others moved to follow, but Camera Guy blocked their path. Stay back, only Melly goes alone. Jack charged ahead. Death was just a reset anyway. The cameraman spoke, but Curly stabbed him with the Picasso. He never knew when to shut up. Jack nodded and dashed out with Xiaoya. Melly stumbled through the pitch-black forest right onto a hidden bear trap. They gritted her teeth against the searing pain, then gasped as the chain trap suddenly wrenched her into the inky black void with terrifying force. Camera Guy and Curly had no time to react as the masked killer struck. Their fate was obvious. Jack and Xiaoya found the house half swallowed by the earth. A rustling sound came from behind, As they hid behind a tree, acided drool dripped from above and the terrifying creature appeared. They ran blindly, until Xiaoya's foot caught, sending her crashing down. She gasped, realizing she lay on fragile glass. One move would shatter. Jack reached to save her, but the monster was already upon them. Jack saw the monster drag Xiaoya into darkness. Against all odds, Mei survived after being dragged away by the bear trap. Jack ran to help Mei with the trap, but a terrifying monster emerged from the darkness just as he reached her. Jack leapt forward and clamped the trap on the monster. Mei's eyes burned red as she realized the monster was her own sister. Huddled behind the guardrail, Mei's pulse still raced. They failed again without even getting to see the psychologist this time. 3 friends had already died. Mei decided to try once more. She picked up glass and told Jack to kill her. As Jack did it, he saw the monster closing in. He drank some rainwater and charged out desperately, then instantly burst into a bloody mist. The rainwater proved lethal when ingested. The group stayed calmer after reviving again. They had lives to spare until Camera Guy showed the growth on his back. The group froze. Mei checked the logbook. They'd survived 13 nights already. The recording stated this would be their last chance. If they failed now, they would become monsters lost in darkness. But they only recalled for deaths. Their memories were missing. The cameraman's eyes lit up as he pulled out his phone showing footage of their other deaths. The footage showed attacks by unknown parasites and a towering reaper, each death more horrifying than the last. The final shot showed the psychologist glancing around before disappearing into the tunnel. Then Xiaoya appeared, determined to follow and search for clues. It struck them that Xiaoya had vanished without warning. This was their last chance. Running no longer mattered. They had to find Xiaoya and stop the psychologist. They crawled through the dark tunnel into a ruined wasteland. Mei glanced around and saw a monster in the distance, quickly gesturing for silence. Then another creature leapt out at them. The sudden chaos in the room attracted more monsters with its loud noises. They raced through the tunnel, barricading the door, only for the masked killer to smash through the window. Jack told Mei to run while they held the killer back. Mei staggered through debris, barely dodging a sharp rock as she fell. Trembling, Mei rose to her feet, only for her sister's monstrous form to materialize before her. Mei called out to her sister's humanity. When met with silence, she shoved the creature's ending its crawling onto the sharp rock. Jack's group fought fiercely against the masked killer. Fighting with everything they had, they finally overpowered and killed the masked killer. Evading monster after monster, Mei at last reached the captive Xiaoya. Xiaoya was imprisoned in a lab, a chained monster near by the psychologist's cruel attempt to heighten her terror. Searching for keys, Mei blundered into a surveillance room, her personal files displayed on the desk. The psychologist entered triumphantly, proclaiming, "Every horror here embodies human fear." The mining disaster victims became the perfect fuel to turn this real world into a nightmare space. He set his coffee down, oblivious to the water dripping from above. Seeing the leaking pipes, Mei got an idea. When the expert looked away, she stealthily positioned the cup under the drain. The bearded man drank more coffee, unaware, until suddenly he knew something was off. Mei shoved hard. The psychologist burst into a bloody mess. She found the lab key in the blood, flung open the door, and saved Xiaoya just as the monster tore free. Jack's group sprinted through the winding maze with the monster close behind, using every twist and turn to stay ahead, until they narrowly escaped at the last moment. The sand ran out just in time as the group cheered for the rising sun that cleared the rain on the mountain path that apparently destroyed the nightmare space. They drove away laughing and crying, only to reappear on security screens. That wraps up our coverage of Until Dawn. The revival mechanic is fresh, but the plot feels rushed, like a message that boils over then simmers out. Alright folks, that's it for today. Share your thoughts in the comments if you see it differently. See you next.